As we all trophy hunters know, there are many games to choose from when we are thinking about our next platinum trophy. Easy games like
My name is Mayo,
but also harder games like But there is one game in particular that everybody participating in this hobby considers the hardest, almost impossible to complete, and that is for a good reason. As you may have guessed from the title, I'm talking about the developers over at Brace Yourself Games cooked up the most insane gaming challenge I have ever tried and can gladly say conquered. In this video I am going to explain exactly why this game is considered by many the hardest platinum you can achieve. Please enjoy. Crypt of the Necrodancer is a rhythm-based roguelike where you collect items, traverse a dungeon and kill many enemies in order to defeat the evil Necrodancer. There is a catch though. Every action has to be performed to the beat of the song. There is also a visual reference in the form of a beat bar at the bottom of the screen. The base game consists of only 29 trophies, but don't be mistaken, these trophies will take you upwards of 1000 hours or even more. It all depends on your skill and perseverance. We are not going to be talking about the two DLCs, Amplified and Synchrony, in this video. I will only mention a feature included in the Amplified DLC, but let's save that for later. The first character we play is going to be Cadence, the default character with no limitations or quirks. Our main objective is to learn basically the whole game, since we just started out and we know nothing. We first need to get through Zone 1, which consists of, like every other zone, 3 levels and a boss fight at the end. To complete a level, we need to reach the exit stairs that are always guarded by a random mini-boss, like the Minotaur or a dragon, for example. After successfully making it through the levels, we get greeted by a boss. There are 4 main bosses that alter between each other. These bosses are Coral Reef, Death Metal, Deep Blues,
Check, 96.G8.
and my favorite, King Konga. Every boss has their own strategy on how you should go about beating them. If you manage to defeat the first boss and complete Zone 1, you will be rewarded with your first trophy in the zone. Okay. We then do the same for Zone 2, Zone 3 and Zone 4, earning the trophies for each respectively. After successfully beating the last 2 bosses at the end of Zone 4 that only Cadence fights, being the Bell Ringer and Necrodancer, we also finish our first run and earn ourselves the trophy So Hardcore. Your next challenge will be completing more runs, but this time with different characters that change the gameplay quite substantially, honestly. First up we have Bard, who is definitely the easiest character in the whole game, since you are not required to follow the beat while playing as him. This means that you can take as much time as you want, since enemies will only move and attack after you make a move yourself. After completing a run with Bard, you will receive the trophy, a beatless beatdown. The next 4 trophies are also tied to characters. Starting with Melody, she is limited to only 1 weapon, and that is the loot. She cannot kill enemies head-on, she has to run around them to deal damage. Dorian is next, and his gimmick is the fact that he moves 2 squares instead of 1. Sounds pretty tough, but once you realize you can just let enemies get close to you by standing still in place, it becomes very easy. The next character, Eli, doesn't have a weapon and can't pick up one. Instead, he throws bombs, which he has unlimited amount of. If that sounds easy, well, because it is. The last character for now is gonna be Doe, definitely the most unique out of the bunch, since she cannot kill any enemies, including the bosses. In fact, she doesn't even get into the arena with them to fight them. She only wields a flower that can be used to confuse enemies, effectively pushing them away for a few moments before they regain consciousness and chase right after you. Each successful run with these characters will earn you their respective trophies. There are 3 more characters I need to introduce you to, but let's have a little break and complete some miscellaneous trophies, shall we? Why, you might ask? Well, let's just say I'm trying to keep it simple, just for a little longer. Almost all of these miscellaneous trophies can be earned by playing seeded runs. The first one is Mercanti whatever, which requires you to kill the shopkeeper. Simple enough. My tip is to run away after using the bomb on him, since he will chase right after you, so be careful. The next trophy is also very easy, and you will probably earn this while completing other objectives. The trophy requires you to have 10 hearts at the same time. For the next few trophies, I strongly recommend following a guide that provides you a seed, like for example the amazing guide on PSNP by Floris, since they are extremely specific. These trophies are Friendly Fire, Mostly Harmless, and 8 Ball. The requirements are on the screen right now, but it's pointless to explain them since they are very straightforward. Next up we have Carpe Diem. This trophy requires you to complete a daily challenge, which is basically a normal run but with a set seed for every player, just like in every daily challenge in every game ever, so nothing new here. Next up we have
I love gold!
This trophy requires you to have at least 6 gold on your person. Basically, don't spend your bread in the shop and you should be okay. 2 Can Tango is our next trophy. Again, very simple. All you need to do is complete a full run in co-op. You can actually achieve this on your own by plugging in a second controller and yourself each floor, or you can give the second controller to your 6-year-old brother, whatever fits your needs. The last miscellaneous trophy is Bat Trick. This trophy sucks ass. You are tasked with killing 3 green bats. These bats have a 1 in 400 chance of spawning, plus they are a pain in the ass to kill, since they move on every beat in any direction, randomly. You cannot predict it. On average, you will encounter 1 green bat every 100 hours of playtime from my experience, so definitely don't focus on this trophy and just let it come to you on its own. Now that we have all miscellaneous trophies, we can finally move on and actually begin the real game. The last 3 characters of the game are the first big barrier players face while attempting this platinum trophy. That is simply because it gets really fucking difficult from now on. First up we have Monk. This character has only one restriction: you cannot collect any gold at any point throughout the run. Literally every single enemy drops gold upon dying. Even the bosses drop gold while playing Monk just to make it that much harder. You basically have to unlearn a big chunk of the game, that being the continuous gold collecting you do on literally every other character. Complete a successful run after many attempts and earn yourself the Wow Down trophy. If you think this can't get any worse, let me introduce you to Bolt, which is a character you unlock after completing a run on the previously mentioned Monk. Bolt starts with a spear instead of a dagger, which means her reach is 2 tiles instead of 1. Extremely helpful. Although there is a small little catch: the whole game moves twice as fast. Every song in the game doubles in tempo, and that includes the bosses as well. That means you will be clicking your keyboard or gamepad on average around 2.5 times every second for around 10 to 20 minutes, depending on your playstyle and skill, which is around 2k clicks for 15 minutes straight. Sounds healthy. There is also a song that plays during the death metal boss that is 175 BPM normally. Times that by 2 and you get 350 BPM. That is almost 6 clicks a second, and the fight can easily last around 25 to 30 seconds on the harder variants. Combine it with the complex enemy movements and you have yourself the perfect recipe for disaster.
What the fuck is this piece of shit?
After finally completing this challenge, you earn yourself the Tachycardia trophy. Now we only have Aria left and we should be done, right? Aria, Cadence's grandma, can only wield the starting weapon, the dagger, throughout the entire run. She also progresses backwards in terms of zones, which means that her run starts in zone 4 and ends in zone 1. She also fights arguably the hardest boss in the game, which is unique only to her, although there is a consistent fast kill strategy which makes this boss easy, but the first time you reach this boss, you will definitely shit your pants, I'm not kidding. Harder enemies are not tied to zones anymore, which means that zone 4 monsters, which are definitely hardest to beat, can also appear in zone 1, for example. She has only half a heart the entire time and cannot earn more hearts, which means you die in one shot from any monster. The only saving grace here is the fact that you receive a free potion that saves your life in case you die, so you have room to make one small error. In addition to all of that, every missed beat or invalid action like mining a high tier wall or jumping through a trapdoor damages you, essentially killing you since you only have half a heart permanently, which translates to the fact that you cannot miss a singular beat. Near perfection is required of you to beat the game as Aria, and it will take enormous amount of dedication even just to complete a singular run. If you manage to make it to the end and succeed, give yourself a pat on the back and enjoy the "you don't miss a beat, do you?" trophy. If you reach this stage, you should be skilled enough for the next 3 trophies. Speed Demon asks you to complete a full run as Cadence under 15 minutes. This trophy is no issue since completing the previous few trophies is infinitely more challenging than this. Just aim straight for the exit stairs, learn a few quick kill strats for the bosses, and you'll be good. Next up we have Undeadly, requiring you to complete 10 runs as Cadence back to back without dying. I'm pretty sure you are able to close and reopen the game as much as you like if you want to take a break, so there's that at least. But still, winning a round takes around 15 to 25 minutes, depending on many factors like your skill, loot RNG and layouts, which means that you'll be playing roughly around 3 hours. All that said, this trophy shouldn't take you many attempts if you made it this far into the game. Last trophy in this stage is Flawless Victory. This trophy sounds rough, but stay with me. It is required of you to complete a low percent run with Aria. Low percent means not picking up any items from the ground or shops throughout the entire run. Yeah, it's pretty tough, but the upside is Aria can pick up any hearts or weapons anyway because of her restrictions. This makes her low percent run not that much different from her regular runs, so if you're able to clear normal Aria, you won't have that much trouble going for this trophy. Now finally, the stage that everyone is waiting for. Polyamorous, impossible, right? And lowest of the low. These last 3 trophies single-handedly make this platinum a 10 out of 10, and even that doesn't do it justice. I have personally completed Crash 4, Super Meat Boy, Wolfenstein 2, DMC 5, and many other tough platinums, so take it from me when I tell you nothing compares to this. If Crypt is a 10 out of 10 difficulty, all the other games I mentioned are like a 2 or 3 out of 10, and I'm not trying to sound condescending. First up we have Polyamorous. To complete this trophy you have to beat a new mode called All Characters. In this mode, a successful completion means you will have to beat the game as every character I mentioned, that is 9 characters in total, in a row, back to back. You cannot die or reset, otherwise you start from the beginning. If you shit the bed on, let's say, the 7th character and die, you have to run it back from scratch, beating the hardest characters like Bolt or Aria again. The mental fortitude you have to have as a player to boot up this game after a massive fail is immense. Believe me, I've been there. This is our second major barrier players face when going for this plat. If you manage to beat this, you will have only 2 more trophies left for the plat, and as you can see literally anywhere on the internet discussing this game, the usual platinum completion takes around 700 to 1000 hours. So you might be wondering how is that possible. Let me introduce you to the spawn of abysmal dogshit that this trophy is. If you recall the subtle foreshadowing throughout the video, you may have guessed that there actually is another playable character, and if you did, you are correct. This character is unlocked only after completing the Polyamorous run, which was the trophy prior to this one. Such a triumph has to be accomplished just to unlock a character? Right, but this is no ordinary character. This is Coda. Character that combines the 3 hardest characters, Bolt, Monk, Aria, all in one. Let's have a look at Coda's restrictions. No gold pickups adopting from Monk, can't miss a beat or take an invalid move, only dagger, half a heart permanently, just like Aria. And all of that on double tempo, taking from Bolt. Yeah, I don't know what to tell you, it's just pure torture if you ask me. There is one saving grace though that makes this trophy infinitely more easier. Although this video isn't discussing the 2 previously mentioned DLCs, I will make a small exception here. Since in the Amplified DLC, the devs added a new mode called Phasing Mode. And in this mode you are allowed to move through walls infinitely, practically playing a whole new game since you can take your time inside the walls and plan your attack properly. Even with this addition / cheese, this trophy can take you upwards of 200 hours or even more depending on your skill and patience just to clear one single phasing Coda run, which takes around 15 minutes. There are many items in the game that make you overpowered, like the bomb charm that increases your bomb explosion area, heavy glass armor that allows you to take 3 hits and survive, or my personal favorite, the monocle, that reveals every item on the floor to you. If you have good RNG early on, you can become more or less a tank and speed through the game, but that will happen only a handful of times, so don't count on it. If, and that's a big if, you manage to complete this trophy, you will be only 1 trophy away from completing what is in my opinion the hardest PlayStation game ever made if we are talking trophies. This is it, the final trophy. All your work for this moment. This one singular trophy took me around 10 months to complete, which translates to around 600 hours of playtime. This trophy is so brutal that only around 30 people, including me, managed to beat it on PlayStation by the data provided from PSN Profiles, which is the most reliable source for this kind of stuff. The game has been out for almost 10 years by this point, which is honestly insane. The trophy is called Lowest of the Low, and to earn it you have to beat all characters mode again, but this time on low percent. I already explained what low percent means in this game, but just for a refresher, it means that you cannot pick up any items from the ground or from the shop the entire time, and if you do, you simply die. No hearts, no weapons, no armor, nothing. Just beating what the community refers to as Big 4, that being the 4 hardest characters in the game, Dove, Bolt, Aria, Monk, is an enormous feat in itself. Couple that with the amount of stress you will experience when after months of grinding you finally reach the 5th character is insanity. I know that this is just a game, but ask any of the few achievers and they will tell you that this is no joke. Let's take a look at one of many situations you will face during this grind and the thought process behind it. We have a Beetle, Blade Master, Warlock coming for us every second beat. We also have an Angry Minotaur coming for our ass every beat. The closest threat here is the Beetle, so we take it out by attacking every other beat. We also have to line up the Minotaur and the Blade Master so the Minotaur doesn't aggro too soon, trapping us in the corner. We also have to keep in mind which beats does the Warlock move on, since he can kill us in one shot as well. After dodging the Warlock and killing him, we get teleported to his tile. The Minotaur took damage when he collided with the spiky wall. We damage him once before dodging his dash again, and we end up killing him. We then clean up the Blade Master, who is no issue now since he is isolated. All while not missing a single beat. This sequence is not difficult for an experienced player and only took about 10 seconds. My lowest of the low completion took about 2 hours and 20 minutes. For example, this situation where 2 hours in I completely forget about the fact that this bomber goblin drops a bomb on the ground when he dies and I take a hit for 2 hearts. Now luckily it didn't cost me the entire run since I had 3 hearts, but that's just one example I gave you right now. I have a whole PlayStation gallery of fails where I completely shit the bed and just die randomly because of stupidity. After clearing every zone, every floor with every character without picking up even just one item, you can finally call yourself the Necrodancer. Thank you guys for watching, I really appreciate it. Be sure to comment what is in your opinion the hardest game to platinum so I can see what the conscious is and maybe take some inspiration for my future project. Also, if you have any more questions regarding this platinum trophy, just ask in the comment section and I will be sure to answer. Like, comment, share and take care everyone.
Okay, love you guys. Don't forget to smile.